let's say you've had your dog for a while, you've been practicing pulling on the leash for a couple months, if not over a year, and you're finding it hard to stop yourself from pulling. That's where your e-collar comes in. That's going to bridge the gap between my handling skills and your handling skills as you get up to speed. The leash handling is harder to learn than the e-collar training for the owner. Sit. And you know, e-collar training isn't hard for the dog to learn either. So how do you hold the leash, the dog, everything when you have the e-collar? I recommend holding the e-collar in your left hand while you have the leash in your right hand. Sit. You can use your left hand if you need to a little bit, but I have one finger on my black button, one finger on my red button, and then if I need to, I can change the dial with my other hand or with the same hand if you get really good at it. Sit. Okay, so remember with e-collar training, yes, I like that he's looking at me. With dog training, it helps to be a little bit ADD. Get that. Okay. Okay, get situated again. I've got my leash in my right hand, I've got my dog on my left side, I have my e-collar on in my left hand. You're mostly holding the dog with your left hand. Have some awareness of where your dog is in relation to your body. Most people react way too late. They react when the dog is all the way out there. By that point, your dog needs to understand how to come to you and get back in heel position. Sit. This dog doesn't know that. He doesn't know that kind of recall. But if you respond when your dog is right there, it's going to be a lot easier for him to adjust before he's so wrong that it's just a big mistake that you then have to fix. And then he's already not paying attention, so then any distraction is going to bring him farther off the path of where you want him to be. So, like I said, the e-collar bridges the gap between poor leash handling skills and get the dog actually understanding what you want. Holding the leash this way prevents you from making mistakes that are going to screw up the training. So have your work while you're working on having good leash handling skills. The e-collar will help you actually walk the dog. So let's go. Remember, the e-collar is not no, it's we're doing something. Yes. Does that dog have a bad reaction to the e-collar? He knows it means food is coming. So he has no bad association. That's the most excited he's been in this little session here. Sit. All right, let's try walking at the dogs. Basically anything that is not sit, that is not the dog following at your side where you want them to be, e-collar stem. This is the little happy zone right here where you want the dog to be. So you stem for anything that is not that. And you notice I'm correcting for sniffing too. Sniffing is not part of heel. Sit. Good. Let's go. I know I wasn't talking that much, but hopefully that gives you a good understanding of the things I correct for. It's not just when the dog is barking and lunging at the leash. That point is kind of too late to change the dog's behavior. If you make a big deal of the small stuff, then the big stuff does not happen and it's not a big deal. So I do recommend that you be very picky. That's why it's important. So the things that are really important to most owners are stay when I tell you to stay, and move when I tell you to move, or a heel, loose leash walk, whatever you want to call it. So you want to be very strict about those commands that are the most important to you. Otherwise, it's very vague to your dog and not very clear, and that's not very nice if you're saying, well, it's sort of okay if you pull, but it's not okay if you pull, and then you're distracted, and then, you know, there's another dog or a squirrel or whatever. You want to have it be, you're with me, you're with me, you're with me. Okay, you're free. Go do your thing. Vinny, come. I think that was some deer poop or something. Sit. Yes. Okay. Free. I don't know how helpful that was. It's a little hard to do and say at the same time, but hopefully you got a good example of what things I actually correct and why it's important to care about the details of when you're walking the dog.